What's up, everybody? This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse on the LCC Network for our 2021 regular season schedule reveal. With me today, I have got Jordan like always, but we got a special guest with us, the reigning Conference A champion, Daquan of the Primetime Players. What's going on, y'all?
How's it going? I'm glad to be here. Glad to be back on the show after a long off season. Time to get back in the commissioners or in the office in the GM chair, and do my thing to make it back to another championship.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Good to be back on this Wednesday evening to bring you a schedule release podcast. Little spoiler alert there.
Yep, if you didn't know that, shame on you for not looking at your screen right now. But no, we're gonna run through. We've already pre-picked our game of the weeks for weeks 1 through 3 matchups that we thought were really cool. And then after that, we're just gonna kind of talk about matchups that interest us throughout the year. We'll kind of show that to you guys. Also, if you're listening to this, you can also just look on your phone or tablet, laptop, whatever you got, and because the schedule's already published on the website. But if you're lazy and you just want to watch us run through it, feel free because we're kicking it off now. All right, Jordan, do a sound for us.
Do 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 do.
All right, there we go. Before we do that, Jordan wanted to talk about some transactions that have happened here now that trading is officially opened up in the LCC.
Oh yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get out of the way. Yeah, the trade wire opened up early, and we already have two confirmed trades in the LCC chat that people have 24 hours to counter the teams involved. But first up, we have Detroit Bad Boys, which is Billy trading Amusement Park, Peyton, and it's basically pick for player, but I'll read it just as a whole. Tyreek Hill in a 12th, going to Amusement Park, and Kenyon Drake in a third going back to the Bad Boys. And then the second trade involves Peyton again. He was busy today, but it's essentially Jameson and Gimme More is giving away Kyler and the 13th for Josh Allen and the 13th. So that's basically swapping those quarterbacks for the 13th. So yeah, those are the two first official trades of the LCC offseason.
That's pretty good. I mean, I think it's gonna be popping off pretty crazy over the next couple of days, and I know I haven't looked at the poll yet to see if the keeper deadline is gonna be before the rookie draft or after, but yeah, lots going on in the LCC right now after a long hiatus of not doing the podcast, and that's kind of just relaxing, I guess you could say, taking some time off. But
Yeah, technical difficulties.
technical difficulties, scheduling difficulties, life, the whole 9 yards. It's been going on basically. But are you guys ready for some schedule reveal stuff?
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. We're gonna go with our first game of the week, and Daquan, actually, we kind of spoiled this for him, but our first game of the week is Primetime Players versus the Spurs, and week 1, little rematch of Little Critter Bowl, 11 and 10 actually. So they both played each other back-to-back years, and Daquan unfortunately has taken L's in both of those, but won last year in week 1 in the rematch. So it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out for you, Daquan, because you both have good teams, obviously, but anything can happen in the offseason.
Yeah, I'll definitely give him this week 1 if he can give me the championship. But it's a little too early. I'm still trying to dig through who's going to be keepers. I'm sure Cameron is too, but it's definitely a rivalry in but even before these last 2 years. So these last 2 years have done nothing but amplified it, and I like to consider Cameron a rival.
I mean, you guys were in the same division for a while, if I remember right.
Yeah. So I think it's going to continue to be competitive. It'll be a close game. It's just we'll see what happens with how he drafts, how I draft keepers, and that such. But definitely looking forward to it, and glad we can kick off the season again versus each other.
Yeah, I think the week one is a no-brainer on who the game of the week is. As y'all know, we usually like to do the championship rematch, much like the NFL usually does. Uh, so how can you not go championship rematch for game of the week? So we'll see if Daquan can turn it around and exact a little revenge, kind of like this past year, even though he'd like to finish stronger. But definitely had to be game of the week.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So I went and pulled it up. You guys have played each other. Well, you guys can see it actually right now. So Daquan and Cameron have played each other 10 times in the regular season, twice in the postseason. Obviously, Little Critter Bowl is when that happened. But Daquan, you're 1-11 overall against Cameron. This is your chance. Like, I feel like the odds are in your favor.
True, can't be worse than 1-11.
Yeah, the law averages say you got to take it. You
I
know?
know, for real. But no, you guys had an excellent season last year. I mean, Daquan, you got it as a 3 seed. You had base close to like 100 points more scored versus points against. Just in general in the postseason, and then the regular season, you had almost 400 more points scored versus what teams put up against you. And he finished 8-4. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. I mean, I think if anyone's doing playoff projections this early, I'm not at the moment, but if someone is, I feel like they'd have to put you guys in as one of their favorites at least.
Yeah, and of course the keepers will determine a lot in this matchup, and I know those aren't decided yet, but just kind of looking at the rosters, I would say Cameron's keepers would probably be a little bit easier to guess. Just off of, I would assume you would have to keep someone like Derrick Henry at running back, but
Yeah.
Daquan's a little more talented spread to where he can choose whether to go like defensive players, maybe even keep Hopkins around. So he's got a little more interesting decisions as to where Cameron's probably got a few guys where he can't let them walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cameron's team is talented. Definitely caught fire towards the end of the year. We saw how Henry struggled a little bit early, and then just really just put the team on his back. Once that happened, once him and Rogers started going, it was pretty much a wrap. I'm honestly, if I'm him, I wouldn't mind keeping Rogers and Henry, even though those are his first two picks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be his first two.
Those first two will be top 5 players in the next fantasy for sure.
I definitely agree with that. You got to think about it. I mean, you're going to be hard to find two players at those rounds in the first place. So
Yeah, Derrick Henry at the second round pick is a must. You can't even like question that. Like, you got to do it. And
yeah,
then like Joe Schobert's a 4th round keeper. That's a steal. I feel like Adrian Amos for a 6th round pick is super cheap too. Honestly, if you wanted
yeah,
to
he
do
could
that.
he could decide to replace Aaron honestly and go a few defenders.
Yeah, he definitely could. Like, let's see. I thought he had to force Buckner, but never mind. I'm thinking of someone else. But no, I like Adrian Amos for a 6. I like Harrison Smith for a 5th. Joe Schobert for a 4th. Derrick Henry 2nd. Rogers 1st. It'll be interesting. Week 1 is going to be a blast. There's other good matchups to talk about, but for time's sake, we're going to focus just on the game of the weeks for the first 3 weeks, and then we can loop back if we need to about any other matchups that we like.
All right.
So next up, our second game of the week in week 2 is Detroit Bad Boys versus Amusement Park. This has become a rivalry, I feel like. Amusement Park was one of those teams that every year it seemed like he should have been good, but struggled. And then this year he finally gets in the playoffs and had a really good team, I felt like. And of course, Billy is becoming more of a perennial powerhouse here lately. If you take away his first season in the league, I mean, he's pretty much made the playoffs every year for the most part. And so this is going to be a battle for the Conference A West Division. I mean, this game right here may impact who wins that division, who goes to the playoffs, and who doesn't. Because what are the chances, realistically, of 3 teams from that same division making the playoffs again? I mean, mathematically, it just doesn't add up. Because, for example, Mr. 300, Colby, barely missed the playoffs and should have been in the playoffs if you look at the way he performed week after week. And then Mafali is like just loaded up with draft picks. That's a team that's going to be rebuilding this offseason. She's the man. That's Maria's team. Is set pretty solid for next year when you look at her roster. So there's a lot of teams that are going to be competing for this conference to get a wild card spot, and I feel like one of them may miss the playoffs because of this loss.
Yeah, I could totally see that. So a definite important early game. You hate to call it a must-win, but I definitely see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the rosters, and we did say Amusement Park made a trade. Did they already have Josh Allen, or they traded Josh Allen?
They're acquiring Kyler Murray.
Yeah, so as last year when Kyler early in the season looked like he was going to be in the running for MVP, I think his team will go just as far as Kyler goes.
Yeah, and it could be very much the same look for Kyler this year. Maybe a little more consistency from him.
Yeah, I think depending on the draft, the way the Cardinals end up going, they can either go, go running back, kind of help Kyler off, take some of that pressure off.
I'm pretty sure they added AJ Green.
Yep, they added AJ Green, which is another weapon to take some eyes off Nuke. So I think Kyler can definitely have a good year. Second year with Nuke also helps a lot. That continuity between them only gets better. So I can see Amusement Park putting a good team together. It's got some decent keepers. CeeDee Lamb's is still. I think. Go ahead.
Okay, and I know on the other, I could let you get back to Amusement Park, but just from kind of looking at his team a little bit today, I know Billy's got huge potential to field another good team. Just starting off like
injuries,
Christian McCaffrey for nothing, but
yeah. And then Joey Bosa coming back healthy.
Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting duo. They could both field a nice team to start out with.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely have building blocks to set themselves up greatly in the draft.
Yeah, I agree. Both of these teams are, I think, favorites for this coming year in terms of making the postseason. All right, you ready for week 3?
Let's get it.
Week 3, game of the week. Here you go. Probably didn't expect this. 100 Champions versus Mufasa Moneymakers. The last year, obviously, these teams were pretty much a joke for the most part. I mean, they were not very competitive at all. Really, most of that division was pretty weak to begin with. Or, not to begin with, but once the season started with injuries and just guys underperforming, they had an off year, to say the least. I mean, they're pretty much always in the playoffs, both Hunter and Mafali. But in week 3 of 2021, it is going to be a different ballgame. Let me tell you, Mafali is loaded up with draft picks, and Hunter made some moves as well to prepare for 2021 already. And I feel like this game right here, you could easily see this as a playoff matchup.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest surprise out of the 3 games we've announced today. And it's because of how bad they were last year. But we picked this off of straight potential and assets to improve their team. So, like you said, we're expecting to see 2 hugely improved teams through just the sheer amount of assets that they acquired over. I mean, let's face it, a tank season ago.
Yeah.
So definitely going to be much different looking, and two veteran owners that proven they can win. So I'm excited to see what they turn those assets into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Mufali turns these picks into. He definitely have just been stockpiling picks last year, and he knew that pretty early into the season. So, kind of see how this works. It's almost like a tanking to win system. So I'm gonna have to trust the process and see how this progresses.
Yeah, I mean Hunter. This last year was the first time Hunter has ever missed the playoffs in his career in the LCC. He was averaging anywhere between 400 to 500 in terms of point differential per season up to this point. And then last year he finished 3-9, second to last in the division, only by Mufasa Moneymakers. And I don't know, like you said, it was definitely a good tank season for both of them. Um, but I'm trying to pull up Mafali's team to see how bad he did. Yeah, he did pretty bad. He was 2-10. Year before he was 6-6, but still made the playoffs as a 4 seed and won in the first round. So I don't know. If you ask me right now who I think is going to win, I'd probably have to go with Mafali. Although Hunter probably has better talent on his roster at the moment, Mafali's just got better assets in terms of draft capital.
Yeah, I like Hunter's team as well. I think Hunter has the better roster as of right now. If you compared rosters, uh, I think Hunter has the better one. But that those assets, as far as picks, like there's no telling who he can grab with those picks.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
and I'm almost going to go the opposite and say I'm going to lean Hunter in this matchup just because of the mix between who he could potentially keep and add with the pick that he added. Because he could still keep, say, like, I mean, Lamar Jackson is a number machine.
Yeah,
Like, so not that he's going to do that. I'm just saying it's potential that he could keep boom players, and he still had enough pick to really add and contribute.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to week 4 now, and share this with the world real quick. What it's looking like. Um, there's a couple matchups here that I love. Daquan versus Colby in week 4. You've got Mafali Hunter. You've got BP versus Billy Ray. That's going to be a great matchup. That could easily be me and you, Jordan. What we playing in week 4. Um,
Yeah, it's
East
always
side.
good when the commissioners square up.
That's right. Slapdicks versus the Spurs. That's a good one. I mean, Austin and Cameron have known each other since they were like 4 or 5 years old. I don't even know. Since they were almost toddlers, basically. So there's some really good matchups here in week 4 that I like. But I think the one
You
that
got
sticks out. What were
is
you
that
say?
Cody? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong side. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
right
right
side.
side. For everyone
Yeah,
that's looking at this right now.
Cody and Michael.
Yeah, Cody Michael would be decent.
Yeah, and I know like Michael the Cody is kind of Michael's guy when it comes to like advice and stuff. So it's kind of like a sensei thing.
Mentor versus the mentee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be these are good matchups. I feel like week 4, there's somebody to pick from for game of the week. I can already tell that's gonna be a good week to talk about when we get there.
And hopefully, well, not hopefully, we will have some records by that point, so we can truly pick a game of the week.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say the one that stands out so far to me is that she's the man versus Mufasa Moneymakers. If he can field a good team, and if Maria's team's anything like last year's team, that could be a top matchup. And hopefully, week 4, I'm looking like I called this as an early game of the week, but that's one of the ones that stand out to me.
Yeah, definitely, because she can keep, I believe, Alvin Kamara and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
yeah,
And so I think it's important to have a like elite running back to be able to keep if you have it, and she's got it.
yeah. Alvin Kamara, I mean, good guy. That's a huge difference maker. It's gonna be interesting. The Saints offense without Breeze, do they
I
be
think they may have to use him more.
exactly? That was my thought, which is crazy to think about.
A lot of dump downs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's keep it moving. We're going to go down here to week 5 and week 6. I guess we can talk about them simultaneously since we're side by side. But Taekwon and Billy, that is going to be a big matchup for your conference. I mean, that's a clash of the Titans right there.
Yeah, it's always a good one. Billy's team's always solid. So, let me pull his roster up.
And while you're looking at that, I mean, a matchup over here that I'm seeing so far in week 6 is honestly BP and Jordan. I feel like you guys have a good matchup. And then if you take a closer look, Hasley and Slashers and Slapdicks.
That could be really good.
That could be. I mean, both of them are in, I feel like, are going to be in competitive divisions this coming year. Cody's obviously got some draft picks that should help him, but Folly does, Hunter does. So both of those guys are going to be needing that win here in the midpoint of the season.
Yeah.
As for Jordan's matchup for Beck for G-Reg, it's going to be a running back showdown with Taylor versus Cook, and I think best running back out of those two would probably put the team on their back early in the season.
Maybe Taylor,
Maybe Taylor. I don't want to tip Jordan's hat on who he's going to keep, but
there may be a Nicholas. I got a Chubb in there.
Yeah, cool. But Dirty Mike and the boys I'm sorry, I went to Dirty Mike and the boys. I meant to go to Detroit Bad Boys. There's too many boys.
Too many boys in the league.
There's too many boys in this league.
We're all the men.
But yeah, like you said, Detroit Bad Boys. His team is stout when McCaffrey comes back. Pretty much getting him for nothing. So
that may be the biggest steal of keepers in the whole league. But I tell you what, an all team name matchup for week 6 is the old Vegetarians versus Body Count.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is gonna be a good one.
Call it the sexual showdown.
The sexual showdown. That'll be a good one. I mean, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit more here, and if some of you are looking at your schedule right now this far and you're thinking, my God, how am I gonna survive? The schedule was built this way intentionally. It's modeled after the NFL schedule, where if you finished first in your division last year, you're going to have a tougher schedule this year because you're playing all the first place teams, plus everyone in your division twice, and then you're going to play all of the first place teams from the other conference once, everyone in your division twice, and then you're going to play both the other two divisional winners in your conference, plus someone who's either ranked one spot higher or one spot lower than you in that other division too. So this schedule is very brutal if you won your division last year. I can speak truth with that because I'm looking here. I'm playing Give Me More in week 6, Detroit Bad Boys week 7, and I don't want either of those, especially back to back.
Yeah, I like that. I like breeding competition and making it harder for proven winners. I'd hate to see Jameson's schedule.
I know, right?
I'm looking at it right now with me getting Jameson. I'm glad I actually get to get Jameson. Towards the end of that season when he was hobbling into the playoff, he had some injuries that I felt he might not should have gone undefeated. Sorry, Jameson, but we'll see. We'll put it to the test this year on how tough his team actually is.
And then, look at Cody. Cody and Mafali obviously finished last in the division, so they got easier schedule. Steel Curtain plays the Vegetarians in week 6. But they play each other week 7. And like I said, both of those teams should be a lot better here in 2021. That could potentially be a game of the week for week 7. I really like that matchup.
Yeah, Cody's going to love it when he hears the schedule is this easy. He's going to be thinking he's got a playoff appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comeback.
That's right. And if you're Mike, hey, I mean, can your schedule get any easier? I feel like Mike's got a good shot.
And you want one of these running backs.
I'm sure he wants one of those running backs. He needs a running back.
You know my phone number.
You know my phone number. He does know your phone number now.
I stay up late. I know you're on the West Coast,
The perfect match.
but let's get it done.
Next week's 7 and 8 are going to be pretty good as well. We have another non-conference matchup, plus we have an in-conference matchup for everyone between the 2 weeks. And honestly, like again, like I keep seeing some really good matchups here. But for some of the rebuild teams, I think they've got good matchups. But for some of the ones who are returning and getting it, trying to continue their success, it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Cody versus Eastside Brawler, Steel Curtain versus Eastside Brawler. Sorry, that's going to be good, right? I mean, both missed the playoffs last year, but this year, who knows?
I like that Mufali versus Colby matchup.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
They're two really good. I guess I would say tinkerers.
Yeah,
So at this point in the season, it'll be interesting to see where they sit roster wise.
and I know Jameson does not like playing Cameron because Jameson, in Jameson's mind, the thought of losing to Cameron is so horrendous because Cameron's the one who talks so much crap to everyone, and I know it drives Jameson crazy. So them playing each other in what did I say? Week 8? I already forgot. No, week 7. Sorry.
Don't feed into his power, Jameson.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to pick game of the week this year. I think as the season goes on, it'll get easier. But I feel that with the schedule being so even, it's so tough to pick them this far out, harder than ever. Typically, you can pick based on who the owner, their kind of draft tendencies, how they pick up players. But with this year, with everyone playing the cream of the crop playing each other, I could see a lot of 8-8 records. Everyone hovering 500 because the top of the top are going to play each other.
Yeah. Looks like we got the Cousin Bowl in week 8 between Crazy Legs and Afternoon Delights.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump all over him like a spider monkey.
And Daquan, we play each other week 8. I just realized
that's easy win.
Easy win. Yeah.
Easy win.
Yeah. Hopefully it's an easy win for me. We'll see what happens there.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you own the history of me versus you.
Is that game in Roebuck?
Let me see. Is it in Roebuck or is it in? Yeah, it's Roebuck.
Oh boy, Daquan's coming home.
He's coming home. We're both going home.
Yeah, I was gonna say Roebuck's a tough area.
He's gonna try to show out for his family.
That's right. Yeah, these are pretty good. And then Steel Curtain versus Burroughs Body Count is interesting. I feel like there was a little bit of trash talk between them last year at one point. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe a little bit. I feel like Cody kind of questioned his Burrow pick when it first went down, and there might have been a little back and forth.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. We'll keep rolling for time's sake here. Week 9 and Week 10, some more matchups. Week 10 is when we start getting back into divisional play. The last 3 weeks are nothing but divisional play. So Week 9 is the last, your last game before you get into those very critical matchups you've got in the last 3 weeks of the year. And hey, Week 9 is around the time where we start getting like cooler weather. We're getting a little bit closer to Thanksgiving. Things are kind of transitioning from like Halloween over to really things go straight from Halloween to Christmas. There is no such thing as Thanksgiving anymore.
Ooh, I love Thanksgiving.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure everybody here loves Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That's my favorite holiday.
Yep.
I love the food at Thanksgiving. It is, you can't even compare it to any other holiday. It's so much better.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, that is the atmosphere that'll be building here in Week 9. Everyone's going to be looking at their schedule like, I've got to win this because next week I've got so-and-so in my division. I lost to them or beat them last time, but if they beat me this time, I could either be 0-2 or 1-1 versus them. So, or maybe 2-0. Maybe you take the full-on lead over them. So, Week 9, every week's important, I guess you could say. But for me, it's going to be extra important because I'm playing my brother. So that is a must win now that I'm looking at that. Jordan Jameson is a good one. Eastside Brawlers versus Michael. That's okay.
So looking at my schedule, I go from playing Maria to playing Colby. That could be both trap weeks where I just go 0-2.
Yeah.
Last year,
that could keep you out of the playoffs.
I was gonna say, I remember going last year when that second win of division play started. Our division was all real close to each other. There was any way it could go. Luckily, I came out on top, but it could happen to play out that way again this year. So
I feel like that's gonna be a tough matchup for Hunter. That actually might be one of his harder matchups because he doesn't play any first or second place teams that I can think of, honestly. So
yeah,
Mr. 300 here is going to be a tough one going right before he hits his divisional play.
With any luck, a lot of these games will determine some playoff slots.
Oh, they definitely will.
Let's say, Pat, you have it rough playing the Spurs and then going to play Jordan.
Yeah, traveling to the afternoon land. That's nowhere where you want to be in week 10.
Yep. You don't want to come get delighted in week 10.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. I go from playing, was it Jameson week 7? No, sorry. Slapdicks.
Me, week 8.
You. And then I go on to play Cameron, and then I play Jordan. And then I'm assuming that I either play Eastside or Vegetarians next. So, what a schedule, man. It's gonna be tough.
Looks like I have back-to-back you and then Jameson.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fight for everyone. It's a dog fight just to make it into the playoffs this year.
Spot the ball.
It's gonna be good. I mean, Charles and Matt, week 10. Do they talk trash to each other? I don't feel like they don't. At least not in the chat.
Oh yeah, they might a little privately.
Privately.
They got the whole team name thing going on, but
That's true. Battle of the legs.
I believe Matt's changing his team name this year, so that'll change. But
what?
Still a little battle.
That's a classic. The Crazy Legs.
Yeah, Matt's just trying to smooth transition to one.
He's pulling a Washington
label across the board.
Yeah.
The Matthew football teams.
The Matthew football teams.
Yeah. He's got his Jiu-Jitsu Jesus channel for everything. So he's just gonna make that his full moniker for everything.
He's gonna change his name to that.
Yep. He's actually got that trademarked.
Jiu-Jitsu will be his first name. Jesus will be his last.
Yeah. Got a full-blown YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't.
One team I haven't talked about on here at all is our newest GM. I didn't even mention that earlier. I mean, in our news and notes, but he has a decent schedule where, I mean, we're talking about a rebuild here for sure because Brandon, who we removed from the league, who had Sunday Fun Day, I mean, left him in a tough spot. Dustin Thornburg, who may not know, he's the replacement GM for that team. I don't know what the team name's going to be at the moment. He asked me what everyone else's were to give him some ideas. He hasn't told me yet, but he has a favorable schedule, which should help us.
Dustin. We should have probably welcomed him earlier, but welcome now.
Yeah.
And, just from his application, he's got tons of experience. So
God, yeah.
I expect a quick turnaround. He's played in IDP for a while. It's not going to be anything shocking.
No, what were you saying, Nick?
I was going to say, I'm looking at his roster, but we can get to that after your comment.
Oh, no, Jordan mentioned his experience, so I was pulling up the survey here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. 19 years of fantasy football experience and 11 of IDP experience. I don't know anyone who has that much IDP experience, at least.
Yeah, he got an IDP pretty early, which is good.
I mean, he was playing fantasy football when some of our league members were still in diapers.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Maybe not for him. No.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
looking at his roster, and it's, like you said, Brandon didn't leave him much to work with. It's just tough situation.
But I'm rooting for the turnaround, Dustin.
Yeah, if Dustin can pull up 360 and 180, because 360 be right back where he's at.
Yeah.
180. I mean, if he pulls a 360, that's not my problem. But if he pulls a 180 and can make this team a playoff team, that definitely says a lot to him. And what he's able to do, that experience would be valuable.
Yeah, and I'd want you to stick around.
Yeah. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what it does this offseason because it is a rebuild. It may take multiple seasons to get to that elite level, but he does have a favorable schedule, so that could play into his advantage.
Yeah,
Yep.
doesn't help.
So let's go into our last 2 weeks of the season, guys. Again, divisional play, so nothing should be surprising here to anyone. But this right here, the last 2 weeks, we know for a fact does change playoff scenarios. This is what makes and breaks you here at the very end of the year. Every week matters, but the last 2 weeks especially, because this is where you're trying to clinch your division. This is when you're trying to just get in as like a 5 or 6 seed, or this is when you're trying to secure that bye so that you don't have to play in the wild card and have to worry about an upset early on. You can rest your players. No, I'm just kidding. I wish.
Yeah. Time to heal.
Yeah, let them heal. But no, this is big time right here. Some of these games. Luckily, thank God, my last game's against Storm, but watch me lose to him. Vegetarians. I feel like he's always playing close to me. I don't know why. He's like if I was South Carolina, he would be like Vanderbilt or someone who's just so always like a thorn in my side when I play him. It ends up being more competitive than I imagine it being.
Yeah, you play down to your competition is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. My team does.
Well, yeah, there's the entire regular season schedule, folks.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to it.
There's some good ones. I mean, Cody Cameron last week. Come on, that's gonna be fun. That's always fun for everyone else at least.
Yeah, I just hope it's for the division.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like one team goes home, one team gets in.
Yeah, the Cody Cameron week, I'm gonna have to mute group.
Yeah.
There's gonna be trash talk back and forth nonstop.
It literally will be. Oh man. But hey, that's what makes the rivalry the best in the league. So, any other things you guys want to mention before we hop off?
No, I think we've done a pretty good job with revealing, but if somebody hasn't voted on that poll that's in the group me and here's this, go ahead and do that just so we can have as many votes as we can. But other than that, yeah, we're a day out from the NFL draft, so exciting day tomorrow, and gonna have a lot of new faces on new teams to pick from. Can't wait to see where they go.
Yeah, I'm excited for the actual NFL draft. It'll play a lot into my keepers, what I do with mine. Obviously, with Trevor Lawrence going one, that'll help. That might tip my hand to James Robinson in his season, year 2.
Yeah.
But there's no telling with a lot of different players. So I'll have my roster open as the first round concludes, and kind of start making my picks based on who they get.
Yeah. So I guess no surprise on who the number 1 overall pick is tomorrow. If anyone wants to,
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, that's right.
Mac Jones. The Jaguars are going to make it happen.
Yeah.
A return of the Mac.
It's going to be really interesting. I assume we're going to talk a lot about that next episode, just because we're we can't help it really. But
Yeah, we got to talk about the draft.
yeah, can't wait to
It's
see what.
un-American not
I know
to.
we're all three Panther fans. Sorry to anyone that's not listening, but can't wait to see where the boys go.
I think even if you aren't a Panthers fan, you have to be interested to see where they go because it's a big question mark. If you're doing a mock draft, let's say you know nothing about Carolina, but you just love professional football, you have no idea who to mock to Carolina. You can't know because there's so many different ways they could go. So that's going to be a very intriguing pick tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that goes for any picks outside the
That's
top
true.
4. Anything from 5 to I'll say about 15 to 20. There's so many different ways the board can fall. One of the most diverse ways the board can fall in a long time. I haven't seen it go this different many ways in a long time. Doesn't help that there's 50 million mock drafts every day. But
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that's truly locked down is Lawrence number 1.
yeah,
Pretty much.
I've seen multiple teams take quarterback, running back, receiver, linebacker, corner, offensive line. No one knows anything anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I guess we're going to call it a night, guys. And Jordan, Daquan, thanks again for joining me for the podcast. It's been too long. We definitely got to do a post NFL draft episode this weekend or beginning of next week. But I'm looking forward to the season, guys, seeing keepers, the trades, and everything. It's going to be a fun 2021 as we get closer and closer to somewhat of a normal society that we were used to before 2020. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll catch you guys later.
See ya.